So can everybody see this packet tracer that I have here? And we're looking at example 1. Okay. So what I want to do is we're going to talk about trunking. We're going to talk about how to do descriptions for trunking and descriptions in general, lab commands. Like this is going to all incorporate this, okay? Also, another important thing is the management VLAN, because I see a lot of people having trouble with that. So in this example right here, you can see we've got the operations VLAN, and I've got the operations VLAN over here. Now notice this switch is representative of building 1, and this switch is representative of building 2. So we're not in the same building, right? We're in different buildings. So in order to make this VLAN talk to other PCs in the same VLAN, I have to put what right here? Trunk ports. So right now I don't have anything configured other than IP addresses. So since I don't have anything configured other than an IP address, can this PCA talk to PCB on the same VLAN?
This is Raymond, yes.
Anybody else? Raymond, you are right. Why is it working? Because there's nothing configured. That's actually why. Because right now this piece, this switch and this switch are just a dumb switch, right? They're not doing anything. When they're in their VLAN, then it won't work. There's literally nothing on these devices, nothing at all. So there's nothing to stop them because they're not part of a VLAN, they're not doing anything. Okay, but now let's do some configuration. So now let me get to where I thought we were. So let's look at the lab commands for this, okay? So we're going to talk about static trunking, not using any DTP. First of all, again, let's look here. We can see that there's no host name on this device, right? So if I were doing the lab commands, what I would use is I would use this blank form, right? And so the device that I'm doing is building 1. And I would just literally type in here the commands that I'm going to do. Building 1. So what else might I put in here for the everyday commands that we use? We'll do our banner. Exactly right. We would do a banner, keep out. Yep. I could do an enable, secret, right? Cisco. I could do service, password, encryption. Did I do that wrong? I always have to type it in. Is it service hyphen password? So I literally type them in exactly like this, right? Yep, line con 0, right? Password, class, line VTY04, password, class, right?
I think in the chat window, everybody's got everything outlined for you.
Good. Yeah. Okay, so login, right? Login. So are we good with that? So now, yes, ooh, logging synchronous. That's super helpful, right? Synchronous. Okay. So you take the password. So again, I kind of have them over here too, okay? Now, for the sake of this demonstration, I'm not going to put the passwords and the banner and all that stuff in, okay? But just because of this demonstration. But let's go ahead like here. Now that I have them all typed, I just do a copy and I come over here and I paste them. Okay, now notice how it's changed the switch name. Okay, So when you're doing lab commands, that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for exactly what the commands are that you need to do. Okay. So those commands, they happen all the time, right? And then you have like lab specific commands that, they're specific to that lab. So maybe it's trunking, maybe it's ether channel, whatever, right? So then you're going to put in your lab specific command. So like in this demonstration, we're setting up VLANs, okay? And in this example, I want to show you how to set up trunking. I want to talk about a management VLAN. I want to show you the descriptions. Okay, so in this example, I want to go ahead and configure the building 1 VLAN 10, and we're going to call it operations. And I want my operations VLAN that's attached to building 1 to be able to talk to the people that work in building 2. Okay. Now in this example, I'm just going to leave the management. Okay. I'm going to leave the management VLAN on VLAN 1. So see, it's just VLAN 1. All right. Now that is not a best practice. Why is that not a best practice?
Nick is saying security reasons.
Right.
Attackers will track VLAN first. VLAN 1 is default. A lot of good answers there.
Exactly. Now, wherever you have an exclamation point, the iOS just won't read that. So that's why I put an exclamation point and then I just put this little message. Okay. So I'm going to just chunk this. So let me just get this VLAN 10 in here. Okay. Now, did I need to type VLAN 1? I didn't, because that's the default VLAN, but I did. It doesn't hurt anything. Okay. So what mode am I in right now? Global. Yep, I'm in global mode. Okay. So here we've got it. So I've added VLAN 10. I've named it operations. Now I just did a VLAN 1 again, right? But I put a little note, VLAN 1 is being used for management, but this isn't a best practice. Okay. Now what could I do to check that to see if those VLANs are in there? What show command could I use? Show VLAN brief. Awesome. Okay, can everybody see that here's my VLAN 10 operations. Here's the default VLAN, right? Okay. Now, notice here VLAN 10 doesn't belong to an interface yet, right? Okay, so we want to do that next. So here's my commands that I've typed in for my F06. Okay. Now, why am I designating it as an access port? It's not a voice, that's true, but it's connecting to an end device. This is connecting to an end device. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pop this guy in here. Okay. And I'm going to talk about, so let's see, I need to be in global mode, right? Okay. Now let's look at the description that I used, okay? A description needs to be detailed enough that if my network failed, or if a device failed, or if I was on vacation and the network failed, that somebody would be able to come in after me and using only the descriptions would be able to completely recreate the network. So what that usually entails is citing what device is connecting to what LAN, what the network is. Okay, so if you look at this description, it's saying building 1, so that's referring to the switch, is connecting to the operations LAN, and the network is 192.168.10.0/24. Now that's a nice, simplified, clear description. So now let me ask the question, can PCA ping PCB?
Martin says no.
Why not? What VLAN is operations in? Let's take a look. Let's do show VLAN brief. So operations is in VLAN 10, right? And it's F06. Can you see how this is linked to F06? Now let's go look at PCB and let's see if this will help us. Excuse me, let's look at building 2. Okay, so let's do a show VLAN brief. Okay, so we've got a show VLAN brief. Now, do we see a VLAN 10 here? And I happen to know this is actually connected to port 18. So if we look at port 18, what VLAN is port 18 in? So if I have something in VLAN 10 and VLAN 1, can they communicate? See what happens. So now I'm pinging from A to B. All right, so does it make sense to everybody why it's not working? Because we've got one in VLAN 10 and one in VLAN 1. So they're not in the same VLAN anymore. So they don't know that they're related anymore. They don't really know. So I can fix that, okay? I can fix that. But I'm going to do a few more commands first back on building 1. So let's start the trunk link, okay? Now, I need to make it a trunk. F01 is a trunk. And why do I need a trunk?
Carry VLAN traffic from David.
Yes, it will carry VLAN traffic. And since I'm going to have a VLAN on each side, I need to do that. Okay, so now what is this command doing? Switch port, no negotiate. Exactly right. It's turning off DTP. Now I'm going to do an example, and this will make it really clear in a minute, okay? So let's go ahead and cut and paste this bad boy in here. Okay. And let's talk about the description that I'm using. Okay, once again, I want you to think about the description and how would we do it. So in this case, F01, right? So description building 1. F01 is connecting to building 2. Okay, and actually it would be even better if I did F01 there. I missed that. Okay, because now could I rebuild that trunk link if I lost everything? Would I be able to know what port it was attached to? Yes. Okay. The other thing that I'm putting in here is that this trunk link is carrying VLAN traffic for VLAN 10. Now I'm being really detailed there because I'd rather have more detail than less detail, okay? But as long as we have the building 1, F01 connects to building 2, F01, and that it's a trunk link, that's satisfactory. But what if I'm carrying like 5 different VLANs? It's just helpful to know what VLANs you as the network administrator are allowing to cross the trunk. Okay. Now notice something. We haven't talked about the management VLAN yet. We're going to come back to this. Okay, we're going to come back to this. So we're just talking about the trunk link, which is totally different than the management VLAN. They're not related, okay? All right, so now how about now? Will PCA communicate with PCB yet? So how could I check the trunk link on this first switch? What command will show me the trunk link?
Interface trunk?
Yes, show interface trunk. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at this guy. So we can see here, F01, it's on. It's doing the 802.1 encapsulation and it's trunking. Okay. The native VLAN's automatically set to the default. And look, it's trunking for VLANs 1 and 10. Okay. So let's come over here and do the same thing here. Now remember, we haven't really done any commands here yet, right? So what do we see there when I do a show interface trunk? there a trunk? No active trunks, right? There's no active trunks yet. Okay. And the reason is because we did the no negotiate. Because remember, no negotiate turns dynamic trunking totally off. Okay. Also, this is still in VLAN 1, right? So this still probably isn't going to work because not only do I not have a trunk link, but PCB is still in VLAN 1. Okay. So right now what we're doing is we're doing static trunking. We're not using DTP. We're doing static trunking. Okay. All right, then lastly, let's do interface VLAN 1. Now I'm assigning this IP address to the switch. Why? Why do I need to assign an IP address to the switch?
Can communicate with outside networks.
It would be able to if we have a router involved. We still have to have a router. The only time we can ever communicate to an outside network is with a router. So, and you're right, if we don't put an IP address on the switch, it won't be able to communicate if we had a router. What have we got? Why would I put an IP address on interface VLAN 1? Remote in. Okay, so, all right. So now let's talk about the description for this interface. Now, if you do not need to remotely manage the switch, don't put an IP address on it. You don't need one, okay? However, let's say I'm the network administrator and I'm in yet another building, a totally different building. I'm at the headquarters. Well, what I would want to do so that I can manage the devices that fall under my realm is I want to put every device that I need to manage into the same VLAN. And I need to give each of them an address. So I want you to really understand that interface VLAN 1 is just that. It's an invisible port. It's not a real port. So it doesn't connect anything to anything. It just allows me to connect to it. Okay, so interface VLAN 1, building 1 doesn't connect building 2. It doesn't, they don't connect at all. The absolute only reason we put an IP address on there is not so it connects to anything, it's so I can connect to it. Okay, so what we would do for a description is, in this case, we're using VLAN 1. I'm setting it up to be the management VLAN. Even though I know better, I wouldn't do that normally, but we're just giving it as an example. We're going to show it both ways. And it's the management VLAN for building 1 and building 2. It does not connect building 1 and building 2. Okay. And then I state what the network address is. Because if I lost one of my switches, it failed, and I needed to replace it with another one, and I've got that information because I saved a copy of my descriptions, or I made a hard copy, or I downloaded it into software, I could be like, oh, hey, that, we used VLAN 1 as the management. I lost my switch on building 1 because the CPU failed. And I can see what network. So let me just find what address is available and pop an address on there. So does everybody see the difference now between a regular VLAN? So again, notice up here, VLAN 10, that's representing this whole area. But it doesn't even attach to an interface until we connect it, right? Until we link it up to each other by doing this command, right? This tells F06, you belong to VLAN 10. Interface VLAN 1, we're setting up an IP address so I can manage it. Okay, can everybody post that that's clear or ask me any questions? So now if I have VLAN 10 on building 1 switch, what do I need to have on building 2 switch? For what I have on 1 switch, I have to have on the other. If I have VLAN 10 on switch 1, I've got to have VLAN 10 on switch 2. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Right? So let's go ahead and we're going to pop in. Now I'm going to show you, okay, what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab all of this. I don't recommend this, but this is what I want you to see how great this is, okay? I'm going to copy this because I've done all my lab commands, right? Everything's perfect. I'm going to come in here. Oh, it's not quite perfect. Hold on here. Now watch that. Boom. Done. Everything's in there and it's perfect. Show run. So there's my host name. Okay. Let's take a look at the descriptions that I put in here. Okay, so building, interface F01 description, building 2, F01 connects to building 1. Again, what would have been better if I put F01 in there. This is a trunk link. This is carrying VLAN traffic for VLAN 10. Now I added a little information because we're doing this as a demo. DTP is turned off in this example, right? Because we did the no negotiate. Okay, now we come down here to F18. Description, building 2 connects to the operation LAN. Here's my network. I've also said I've got DTP turned off. Here's my management VLAN. VLAN 1 is set up as the management VLAN for building 1 and building 2. And here's my network. Okay, so let's take a look now. If I do a show interface trunk, look at that. My trunking is in the mode of on. On is just static manual configuration. Okay, that's when we did switch port mode trunk and we did the no negotiate. Okay, that's just straight up manually assigning a trunk. It's doing 802.1q. The VLANs that it's allowing is 1 and 10. What have I got over here? Same thing. Okay, and my VLANs match 1 and 10. Now let's do a show IP interface. Let's do a show VLAN brief. Okay, show VLAN brief. So what have I got? There's my operations. It's on F06. Okay. Now, what do you notice right here? What's missing? Amen. F01 is missing. Why? Why is F01 missing? It's a trunk link. It's a trunk link. So if we look at this one as well, same thing here. Look, can everybody see it's missing? That's because F01 is a trunk, right? F01 is a trunk. So we don't see it when we do a show VLAN brief. Missing because it's a trunk. Okay. And then look, there's 10 and it belongs to 18. Okay, so does everybody see that? So again, a really common CCNA question is, it won't be worded like this, is, oh, why don't you see interface F0, whatever, 7 or F01, and they'll show you this command? Well, the answer is because it's set up as a trunk. Okay, it's set up as a trunk. Okay, so how about now? Can PCA ping PCB? So when we looked here, right, we did show VLAN brief. What did I do wrong? Okay, show VLAN brief. So is it part of VLAN 10 now? So right here, F18, is it part of VLAN 10? Okay, and what about over here? 06, is it part of VLAN 10? All right, let's see. Voila. They can ping. All right, so now let's do another example, okay? Let's do example 2. So DTP is on by default, correct? And somebody that has not answered, what is the advantage and why do I use DTP? What is DTP for? Corey. Yeah, what is DTP? What is it used for? What is it? Okay.
Are we talking about, Raymond here, are we talking about DTP being on or off? Why you would have it on or off?
Well, I just want to know what it is. What is the advantage of it? What is a disadvantage of it? Like, what is it? What is DTP?
So you would turn off DPT to protect the man in the middle, so to speak, so that someone can get in and get your information and take advantage of it. Is that right?
Well, so it's a, you would turn it off as a security measure for sure. What, like, why would I even need to turn it off? Like, what about it is a security issue and what does it do?
It automatically establishes trunk connections.
I can barely hear you.
Hello, is that better?
There you go. Yeah.
It automatically establishes trunk connections. So if you had it on and somebody spoofed a trunk, it would automatically form, which would be a big security risk.
Yes. What was the last part?
Oh, if somebody spoofed a connection, they could, create a trunk and get into your network.
Exactly. That's the security problem with it. But what it does is it dynamically creates trunks. It makes creating trunks really easy. All right, let me just get this.
Saying that it makes trunks automatically. Raymond here.
Yes, it completely makes trunks automatically. All right, I don't know why, for some reason the green box is gone, but this is part of the same VLAN, the cashier's VLAN and the cashier's VLAN. All right, so,
I have a question.
yes.
I don't know if my brain just took a left turn, but I was gonna ask, so when we do the switch port mode trunk, is that in a way creating a DTP? Or is that like a form of DTP? Or
So I'm sorry, is it doing what with DTP?
when we do switch port mode trunk,
Mm-hmm.
is that like when you said DTPs create trunks?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up really bad. So if you do a switch port mode trunk without the no negotiate, then DTP is still active. So that's actually, we're going to do that sample. So let me show you here. So I think this might answer your question, Adrian. All right, so this is the same. All right, so we're looking at example 2 now. My switch is headquarters in the branch office. Okay. Now, I want you to notice here, the first thing I've done is I've changed the management VLAN from 1 to 99. Everybody see that? Okay. Now, the other thing I've done here I've got F06. Okay, we're calling it the cashier VLAN now. There's my description. Okay, now check this out. This is really important. Interface F01, that's my trunk, right? Over here where I've got my trunk. Notice the no negotiate command has been removed. I'm not using the no negotiate command. Okay, F01. So let's watch this. I'm going to grab this stuff. Let me get in here. I've already pre-done my commands. So let's do it through F01. We're going to do it through the trunk, okay? Paste. All right. So let's look at this. Watch what's happening here. Can you see the lights? Give it a second. So what'd you see just happen? So what my question is, did a trunk form between HQ1 and BR2? Let's look. What show command could I use? Look at that, green. You can't always tell by the green lights, but what command can I use to see if a trunk port has formed?
Show interface.
Show interface trunk. Okay, so F01 on HQ1, my mode is on encapsulation and it's trunking, right? And look, it's trunking for 110 and 99. Okay, now let's come over here. Let's look at number 2, BR2. What do you think? Is it trunking or not trunking? Any guesses?
Adrienne says not, and Maria says yes. Got a couple of no's, got another yes.
So look. F01 auto. And it is trunking. Why is it trunking? Because I didn't turn DTP off. I didn't turn DTP off. And DTP is on automatically unless I do the no negotiate. Okay. So let's do the rest of the commands over here on HQ1. Can these ping each other yet?
Yes, from Raymond.
They're pinging because they are sharing information, right? So let's finish HQ1. Okay, I'm going to finish the commands here. So we did it through switch port mode trunk. I took out the no negotiate. So let's go ahead and get the VLAN 99 in here. So that I can get my VLAN. Now remember, what is VLAN 99 doing? What's VLAN 99 doing? What's VLAN 99 doing? Anybody? Okay, let's see. So Spencer, are you there? Do I need to read the answer? Are you having trouble with
I'm
your
here.
connection?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's spotty, but I got some management, invisible port. I remember you said that from Adriana. Martin is saying management. Dominic is saying manage.
So is it connecting anything to anything?
No.
No, it's allowing me to connect to it. Okay. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, now let's do the branch office. Okay, now I want you to look at this. Interface F01. I'm not even putting a trunk command on it. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to make a point that that device automatically trunked. So if I was a bad hacker and I came into your office and I connected up to a switch and you didn't turn DTP off or shut down your ports, I would now have access to all of your data, all of your devices information, okay? So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and I'm going to pop it in here. Okay. Again, notice right here, F01, I didn't do the switch port trunk, right? I didn't do that. Go run. Now I did go ahead and put a description on it, okay? This is not good practice to not put something on there. I just want you to see how DTP works, okay? I want you to see how DTP works. Here's my description, right? Here's my VLAN 99 interface because that's my management. My good description. So let's do a show interface trunk here. It's in the on mode. And let's do a show interface trunk here. And it's going to be in auto mode for DTP, show interface trunk. It's in auto mode. That's a DTP mode. There's auto mode and desirable mode for DTP. What it's part of port one, port one, and it is route, it's doing forwarding traffic for 1, 10, and 99. Everybody see that? Are there questions about that? So again, one of them, right? We didn't even do a DTP command.
And
Yeah.
so, if one of those switches was not allowed did not allow VLAN 99, there would be no connection.
There would be no connection for VLAN 99. So like VLAN 99, that's the management, right? So what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to ping between my devices.
Because it's allowed, and I was just wondering if it wasn't allowed, would it still have the same?
Yeah, it's because it's on the same network. So let's do that. So let's see what happens if I go into config T, no VLAN 99. Okay, so I just took VLAN 99 out of there. Show interface trunk. Okay, so show interface trunk. Let's look at this guy. Show interface trunk 99. Now let's ping between here and here. So let's ping to our other device, 1.12. Everybody see what just happened? So what just happened? When I removed 99 from BR2, what happened? Okay, but why? Yep. So why is that? Yeah, bye-bye trunk. It didn't lose its IP because if we look here, show IP interface brief, there it is on this one, right? And let's look at switch 2. There it is on switch 2. So we haven't lost the IP. The answer is right here. You look at this, and you look at this. So here's HQ1, and here's the branch office. I want these to show at the same time. Okay, so here's HQ1 headquarters, and here's the branch office. Okay, so remember, the VLAN interfaces aren't really part of an active port. It's a virtual port. Okay, this is pretty close. BR2 does not allow VLAN 99 because I removed it. So remember, what I do to one switch, I have to do to the other switch. So as soon as I went on this switch and I said no VLAN 99, show VLAN brief, there's no longer a VLAN 99. So over here, so look at headquarters 1. There it is, 99, management, it's active. It doesn't belong to a port because it's just a virtual interface. It's not a real interface. But over here, there is no 99. So remember, what you do to one switch in the way of VLANs, you have to do to the other switch. So how could I make this work? VLAN 99, name, management. Voila. Show interface trunk. There, it's back. Okay, so now I should be able to ping from the headquarters switch over to the IP address on my branch office. Okay, and there we have it. 5 out of 5. What you do to one, you have to do to the other. What happens if I do config T no VLAN 10? Now what can't communicate? Yes, the PCs now can't communicate because they don't match. See, what happens when I take VLAN 10 out of the command line, this switch doesn't know when it receives traffic from VLAN 10 that it's okay to let it go through. So it drops it. Okay. So now if I try to ping it, what's happening is it is coming to here and it's going to here, but BR2 looks at its list and it's like, I don't have a VLAN 10 here. I'm just going to drop it. And it just drops it. See, it's failing. No. Okay, how can I make it work? Nope, VLAN 10 can't communicate. Can't communicate because it's not on the device. But how can I make it communicate again? Yep. VLAN 10, name, what was it called? Cashiers. Cashiers. Now let's see if it works. Did I type it wrong? What do I have over here?
You had to go into the interface and allow that VLAN?
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm. Nope, I shouldn't have to because, let's look. Exit, let's see. Run. See, I didn't take it off of the interface. I had only removed it as a VLAN, but I didn't ever take it off the interface. VLAN 10, name cashiers. Ah, there we go. I hadn't given it enough time. Okay, does everybody see that? All right, let's look at this next one. Now, what if I set the main switch up with DTP no negotiate, and I set the SOHO switch up for default DTP? And what's the default mode for DTP? It is,
On.
but what's the mode? What's the mode for DTP?
Desirable. Couple of desirables. There's an auto. Another auto. And some actives now. Active.
Oh my gosh. I have the annotations on and it won't clear. Okay, I'm stuck here. Give me oh, escape key. Thank you. Oh, Damon, thank you. Okay, so exit. Okay, so the question was, so we're looking at example 3, right? If we set the main to DTP no negotiate, and I set default on the SOHO, and we asked, what is the default mode, right? That's what we did over here. So what is the default mode of DTP trunking? It's auto. Yes, it's mode auto. That's the default mode. So when you turn a switch on, it automatically has DTP built into it, and it's in the auto mode. Okay, so if I come over here and I do main, okay, so we're doing example 3. So here's all my lab commands. Okay, now notice here, what have I got? I have the no negotiate. See that right there, the no negotiate. So I'm turning DTP off, okay? I'm gonna pop over here. Now, if you remember in the last example, what happened? When I left DTP on, what happened immediately? It connected. It made a trunk. So I turned it off. So what will the mode be on main? If I do a show interface trunk, what is the mode going to be? Going to be on, right? Because I'm not using DTP and I turned off the DTP with no negotiate. So what will it be over here? What's Soho going to say? If I do a show interface trunk, what am I going to get over here? What am I going to get? Tricky, huh?
A lot of autos.
All right, is everyone looking? Here I'm on the next switch. Let's see what I get. What did I get? Nada. Because remember, when I do that no negotiate command right here, it doesn't send any messages. So remember, devices are talking to each other all the time, whether it's host devices or switches, they're talking, right? Well, when I say no negotiate, that causes the switch, the main switch, to not send any DTP messages to the other switch. So it doesn't know that there's another switch there that it could even form a bond with. Okay, doesn't even know. Now, I'm going to come here to 2. Now let's chunk these commands in, okay? Because we want to see. So I'm going to go ahead, let's get this in. I'm going to do it all the way through F18. We're going to get our access port set up over here. Okay, so we've got our access port. Can these guys ping each other?
Raymond says no.
Yeah, because there's no trunk, right? There's no trunk and they're still in different VLANs. Okay, so there's that guy. Now I'm going to go ahead, let's put the trunking in. Now notice what I've done is I'm doing switch port mode dynamic desirable. So I'm telling it, yeah, hey, use DTP and I'm going to put you in desirable mode. Now what normally desirable trumps everything, right? It's the boss. So let's see what happens here. I'll go ahead and put the management VLAN in there too. Let me exit out here. Paste. Okay. So do I have a trunk? Look at that. Still no trunk. Though they're incompatible, as soon as I do the no negotiate on one side, even though I use the DTP desirable command, it just isn't compatible. So this is a really common problem in networking. This could cause your entire LAN to go down. And then look what's even more deceptive. See the link lights on. But that's just because that port's open. Right? Does everybody see the point that I'm trying to make here? Nada. So what could I do to fix it? I could come over here and I could do interface F01, no switch port, no negotiate, right? So here's my F01. But now that no negotiate. So what about now? What's going to happen? Do you think we can communicate? We should be able to. Let's see here. What are we missing? Show interface trunk. So I'm in on mode, trunking for 110 and 99. What have I got over here? Show interface trunk. Oh, why don't I have it? Did I not do those commands yet? Thought I put those in. We should be trunking now. Let's see.
Adrian has a question. What is switch port mode active used for again?
Switch port mode active.
I've never heard of it.
Unless we're talking about LAC-P and PAG-P, active and passive, but that's for either channel.
Yep.
I'm not sure, Adrian. Well, I don't know why we're not getting a trunk here. I'm probably missing something. Let's see, copy, run, start, reload. Sometimes we might have to reload it so that it can reset itself. Take that no negotiate off there. Okay, but does everybody see what we're doing with this? Like showing how DTP works, how the trunks talk to each other, why it's important to turn DTP off or on. Now, even if you use DTP to establish all your trunks, you could go in afterwards and then do the no negotiate. Enable, show interface trunk, on. There we go. I don't know. I don't want to take a bunch of time to try to troubleshoot. Oh, there it's working. I think it just needed to be reloaded. Okay, so what if I set both switches to auto and auto? What would happen? So we're doing DTP, right? So we're doing DTP, switch port mode dynamic. Where's my auto? If I set them both to auto, what happens?
No answers. Chris, be an access port.
No trunk. Yeah, there's no trunk. Because auto and auto doesn't allow a trunk to form. Even though DTP is on, if we have both switches doing auto, auto is a passive mode. So let's take a look here. Show interface trunk, that's when it's in auto mode. Now if I come over to the second switch, okay, and I'm going to do the same thing, it's going to be an auto, so I turn dynamic trunking on, right? So we'd kind of think, oh, great, dynamic trunking is on, it's going to form a trunk. However, look at that. Here's the second switch, and here's the first switch. See that? Because they're both in auto mode, and auto is a more passive mode, so they're not sharing. You know, maybe, could that be what you meant, Adrian? If it's, when it's desirable, it's in an active, it's actively negotiating a trunk, but that's not really, you don't use the word active to set the mode. So maybe, could that be what you were referring to?
I think you were, I think you were right when you said it was used on Ether.
Okay,
Yeah, with-
active and passive for LACP, yeah. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 3, with 1 being I do not get trunking or dynamic trunking at all, 2, wow, that was really good. I understand trunking. Pretty good, but I still have questions. So that would be like a 2, and a 3 is like, yeah, I rock. I totally know how to do trunking and what dynamic trunking means now. So 1, 2, or 3, and everyone needs to put something in the box.
Lots of 2s, 2.5, 3 to 3, 2s. I'm not sure if you got the window open.
I do, but it's hard for me to do. I mean, when I'm not doing anything else, I can look at it, but it's when I'm doing stuff, it's hard for me to look at it. So this second I can look at it. Okay, so it's important to understand trunking as we move into STP and Ether channel and inter VLAN routing. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to take some extra time tonight, because not understanding trunking and how trunking works makes everything else harder, okay? When in doubt, just turn DTP off. Use the no negotiate. The safest thing to do on here, oops. Hold on, okay, config T. One of the best things you could do here is do interface range. Now, I'm on the first switch, so we're using number 1 for the trunk. So I'm going to do F0, 2 through 5, okay? And I'm going to do shutdown because I want them to shut down. And then I'm going to do switch port, no negotiate, negotiate. Okay, command rejected conflict between. Oh, that's okay. That's because I haven't done it on the other side yet. So you're going to see this message because I'm going to go do it on the other side too. So it's seeing a conflict because it's trying to do trying to make a trunk. So then I'm going to do interface range F0 7, right, through 24. I'm going to do a shutdown, and I'm going to do a switch port, no negotiate conflict. Then I'm going to come over here and do it on this too. Config T, interface. So on this one, it's range F02 through 17. No shutdown. And switch. Oh, I know what. Yeah, switch port. No negotiate. I should have turned them on to access ports first. Let me switch port. Then just shut them. Switch port mode access. There. We just do that, then they're shut down. Switch, I spelled that right. Then they'll be shut down. Actually, then we don't even have to worry about the trunks. Am I spelling it wrong? Switch port mode access. There we go. I spelled it wrong. So actually, the best thing to do is just to put them in access ports, then shut them down. Then you don't have to worry about the trunk at all. That's what I should have done over here. I should have done that. I should have said switch port mode access. Now shut them down. Now we don't have to worry about trunks. That's the better way to do it. Sorry, my administrator brain wasn't on for a minute. So see how I've got it shut down? Now a trunk can't even form because I've made it an access port and I've shut it down. Okay. All right, so let me do something here. Practice.
Hey, and
Huh?
I just want to point out that shutting down a port that's not being used, it's always a good idea to put a description on there.
Yes. Oh, thank you. You're absolutely right. And you might have seen me do some of those, right? So what we would do is when I just, so even better, config T. So let's go into that range, right? Into that range, description, shut down for security purpose.
Question.
Can contact network administrator before activating. Like that is really good. And if you do stuff like that, you will find that we will often, not always, but often give you extra credit points. The assignments require you to do it on active interfaces, descriptions on active interfaces. But when you put descriptions on your deactivated ones, we often, again, not all the time, we'll give you a couple extra credit points. Yeah, who had a question?
He did. I could not, there was only one question I skipped on the 655 lab, and that was when it was asking, what does it mean, when you're in the interface trunk, the show interface, and it's talked about not prune, and it said something else before that. What does that mean?
It's asking you about pruning
Uh,
in the 655 lab?
Yes.
yes. I can pull it up.
Does it even talk about pruning in the reading material?
Yeah, someone is
I'm
talking
aware
about
of.
it.
I don't remember it. Oh, you know what? Skip that question.
Oh, thank goodness, because I turned it in and I skipped it.
Nope, just actually skip it. I know why that is. Let's see. Oh, it's actually on a quiz. Interesting.
Mhm.
Let me look at it. Let's see what this says. Huh. Skip that question. I don't think that I cannot remember. So we used to cover pruning. So it's something that STP does, but I don't think they cover pruning anymore. And that question probably got stuck on there from an older lab when we covered pruning. So on that one, you guys can skip that. We'll talk about that though when we talk about Ether channel on Thursday, okay?
I also have a quick question there.
Uh-huh.
With regard to turning off all the ports, the switch does have a gigabit ports. Are
Yep.
they also concerned into
Yeah, absolutely. So like on this one, I would have also done interface range G012, switch port mode access, shut down. Yep. Right. So then if I do a show run, we'll see how all of these are shut down. See, and it's got the note on there. Now the G01, I didn't put the description, but again, I would have. Right. So see how it's all shut down? Okay, so there's an assignment in here. If you go to assignments, it'll say description practice. I want everybody to do this now. We're not done because we still need to talk about STP a little bit. Okay, but what you're going to do is you're going to open up that packet tracer that's inside that assignment. So you'll open up the packet tracer. Okay, and you're going to open up the Word document also. And if you go in here, you'll notice that the descriptions are not on any of the active interfaces. So you need to add descriptions onto all of the active interfaces. And then Stormy had a great idea. If you do, let's see. So normally what we look at is the show run, right? But you can do a show run with a pipe command, include descriptions, and there, it will just give us the descriptions. That's all you have to do, okay? So let me put that command here in the box. So it's a show run, and then you use the pipe include description. And that will just give us the descriptions.
What is the assignment?
So it's under description practice. So if you go to assignments, you could find it there by typing in the word description, or you could probably find it on calendars. See it for some reason in the calendar. So you might have to get it. Oh, there it is in the calendar. Description practice. Description practice. So everybody take 5-10 minutes and do that. And then come back. So do that, take a little break, and we're back online at 8:15.